Good morning, everyone. It is a great pleasure to welcome all our value clients who have joined this equities market review and the fixed income market insight this morning. We appreciate you. As usual, we'll be taking you through the equities market. We'll give insights into the fixed income market as well. Last week, in the equities market space, it was a negative outing for the all share index because out of the 5 trading days last week, all share index lost 4 trading days. Bears dominated 4 out of 5 trading days in the course of last week. It was only on Monday that market recorded 0.0%, 0.07%. But the subsequent days, on Tuesday, market lost 0.08%, on Wednesday, 0.12%, on Thursday, 0.21%, and on Friday, the loss became wider. The market lost 1.95%, and then it was because the Dangote Cement, which happens to be one of the most capitalized stock in IGT equities market under Premium Board, with capitalization of over 10 trillion, lost 9.99% in terms of the share price. That was the reason why on Friday we saw the loss wider than the previous trading days. And then our week today performance were at a negative 2.33%. So it has actually moderated or reduced our year-to-date return of over 34% to 33.33%. So it was a bad outing for the share index because the bears dominated 4 out of 5 trading days of last week. And in terms of the trade turnover from Friday, at the close of business on Friday, we saw a trade turnover of 3.56 billion units of shares valued at 47.22 billion. And by the time we compare that to the previous week, the percentage gain was about almost 25.5% in terms of the volume, because last week, the previous week, market did 2.83 billion, valued at 42.37 billion naira. So in terms of the volume, we had 25.7%, while in terms of the value was over 11% when you compare that to what actually happened at the close of the business on Friday. And the financial service industry will continue to dominate the market and lead the market because of the activities around that sector. A financial service firm, in terms of a volume, did 2.01 billion, valued at 25.73 billion naira, and with a contribution of 56.52 billion, 56.52% in terms of the volume. And then Y value, it also contributed 54.60 to the value. And we also observed that in the course of the week, top trading companies, Tourist Nigerian PLC, FCMB Group, and the Abin Limited traded 1.88 billion shares valued at 8.5 billion, and they also accounted for 52.73% and 18.02% of the equity turnover and then the equity value at the close of the business last week. Looking at our share index as at the close of business on Friday, that happens to be the last trading day, we are currently at 98,201.49 basis points, and we could see that we were coming from the 100,000 because of the activities around Dangote Cement and some other tier 1 banking stocks. So looking at the sectoral performance last week, and that will be the first time in the last 6-7 months that all indices under our coverage, the major indices, were recorded negative. NGX banking lost 2.94%. We saw profit taking across tier 1 banking stock, the likes of Zenith Bank, GTB, UBA, Access Bank, Wema Bank. And then NGS insurance as well. We also saw profit taking. It also lost 0.27%. We saw profit taking across some major companies under the index, the likes of Veritas Capital, Assam Marshall Insurance, and then a few other insurance companies like Cornerstone. While NGS Industrial, the depreciation was deeper under NGS Industrial, because don't forget that Dangote Cement, with overcapitalization of over 10 trillion, falls under the purview of NGS Industrial, and Dangote lost percent, which was the reason why we had a wide negative of 2.33%. So the NGX Industrial lost 5.89%, and a few other companies under that index also came down. NGS Oil and Gas, we saw profit taking around Etana Oil and Japan. And so all indices, major indices, closed in the negative territory at the close of the business on Friday. So, but notwithstanding, our month today, we are still at a positive of 1.85%. And then our year-to-date return, we are still at a 31.33%. So I think on Wednesday last week, we also saw the management and the board of Zenith Bank also indicating that they are also coming up on board to come and raise the capital for our market. So they are going to follow that they will be raising the capital through right issue, and then they are looking into 1 for 6. So for every 6 units you have, you are qualified for one, and then for the qualification date is for whose name appear in the register of the bank as at 24th of July 2024. So the right issue is 36 naira, and they are raising 5.2 million units of shares, which will be close to over 200, or close to almost 200 billion. But this slide, we have done the projection and insight into Access Bank, Fidelity Bank. So I think in our next week Monday presentation, we are also going to bring Zenith Bank on board so that we can also look at those financial metrics post the capitalization of Zenith Bank, and then we'll be able to give a recommendation in form of rating whether to buy, either to hold or to sell for those who may be willing to buy Zenith Bank. And today, the Fidelity Bank for public offer and right issue is also closing. For those who have not also submitted their form, we also encourage you to send your form to us. So because of time, this is our weekly stock recommendation. So if you look at the trading, at the close of the trading day on Friday, Access Bank closed 18.50 kobo. And I think about 3 or 4 weeks ago, we did discuss clearly that for all our clients who wants to participate in the right issue, we advise that you can fill your form so that you can indicate the unit you have. But we gave for that if the price is trading below the market, the right price, we'll be likely to advise you to take advantage of the right price. I mean, the market price. So as at the close of the Friday, Access Bank closed 18.50 kobo. So we encourage those who have indicated their interest in the rights to buy from the market today, because we can take that advantage. If you buy from the market today, at least you are going to have some discounts, because if you are buying at 19 naira 40 kobo, by the time you factor in transaction charges, that will take you to 19 naira 75 kobo. But because it's trading 18 naira 50 kobo, that is discount of almost 40 to 50 kobo. You can buy from the market. For Fidelity Bank, the price is not coming down, so you have to go through the right issue and public offering. First Bank, we place in our buy recommendation. UP, our buy recommendation. Sterling Bank, Stanbic, Zenith Bank, Heiko Insurance, Master Insurance, name 1 to 19, they are on our buy recommendation. At 20 to 28, they are also on our old recommendation. 29 to 30, they are sell recommendation. So in terms of projections and activities for the week, last week we saw some companies releasing their half-year performance. We've seen Airtel Africa, Champs PLC, Dangote Cement, Cadbury, NEM, Transcorp Hotel, and a few other companies. And the result has been, those results have been very impressive, despite the fact that the business environment has been very tough. Or we could see from those performances across board that companies are now changing their business model in such a way that they want to navigate those macroeconomic variables that are driving the performance of the companies down. So it shows clearly that investors should confident of getting a return. They will be compensated at the end of financial year, because across board we've seen Transcorp Hotel declaring 10 naira interim dividends, Transcorp Power declaring 1.50 kobo. Okomo Oil has also declared interim of 8 naira. Custodian has also declared 50 kobo. Which other company? Transcorp PLC has also declared 1 naira 10 kobo dividends. Prudential declared 15 kobo, and then I think they're also declaring the bonus for 1 for 1. And we have also seen what United Capital has also demonstrated. a bonus of 2 for 1, and an interim dividends of 90 kobo. It shows clearly that all these companies that are declaring, some of them are in our recommendation. So it shows the by the end of the financial year, companies will be able to, investor will be compensated in terms of getting better return from their investment. So our expectation for the week, we anticipate increased equities market activities to release based on the corporate earnings of the company. It will serve as a catalyst, and the market is likely to move up. Renewed bank interest on companies that are also very sound is going to take place. Some companies have declared in their share prices. People that want to come into the market newly, they will take that advantage. And for those who also want to increase their weighted average cost of holding, they will take that advantage. Of course, you cannot completely eliminate profit taking in the market. It's one of the signs of the market, but it's going to be with minimum level. And then why finally, we expect equities market to close in the green note, but it's going to be with marginal basis point, because the lost market got last week was very deep, looking at a minus 2.3%. These are the overview and a review of what actually happened in our equities market. Well, we encourage you to stick to all those recommendations across various indices. So thank you very much. This is what we have for the equities market review this morning. So it's time for the fixed income market reports.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Taufik, for that. And welcome once again to our morning breakfast session. Very quickly, we'll look at what transpired at the fixed income markets for the week ended 26th July 2024. Last week was quite interesting. There were a number of activities that took place last week, which ranged from the MPC committee, the MPC meeting, which held Monday and Tuesday. We saw some auctions take place last week. So after the MPC meeting, we saw that the MPR was increased by 50 basis points from 26.25 to 26.75. And consecutively, that action triggered into the market, whereby we saw a yield across the various markets increasing as a result of the increase in the MPR. So quickly, just to take a look at the funding rates, we saw that the open repo rate and the overnight rate declined by 526 basis points and 536 basis points respectively, to close at 26.13 and 26.66%. And that wasn't quite surprising, because we saw last week that the FAC disbursement was made, and that was FAC of over almost $1 trillion with about 700 billion hitting the banking system. So we saw that water down the liquidity in the market to eventually close at 207 billion at the end of the week. And like I rightly mentioned, the increase in the MPR also triggered into both the secondary treasury bills market and the UMO markets. We also saw the same sentiment play out at the bond market, where yields on those three markets advanced for the market to close bearish. At the treasury bills market, we saw a 34 basis point increase in yield to close at 25.23, while at the almost secondary market, we saw that the yields increased by 64 basis points to close at 24.95. I think it is worthy to note at this point that we saw some clients last week who took advantage of some of our recommendations, and I'm very certain that they were quite pleased with some of the activities that took place at the market last week. And most importantly, we need to emphasize that for clients who don't have the power to go for all of these various options, in-house products is a very, very good option for you. From our lead fixed income product, which affords you the opportunity to invest and also take advantage of what is going on in the markets with a minimum of 50,000 naira. You can be into these various opportunities. And we are pleased to also announce that the lead fixed income fund, it's going to be making the dividend payment. It's dividend payment today, and we are paying 3.25 naira for every unit you hold. So the opportunity is there for you to grab. We know some of our clients are really taking advantage of this, but this is a call on others who are just strictly focused on equities. You can also diversify your portfolio by looking at these various fixed income products. And also, our lead balance fund, which has a mixture of both the equities and the fixed income. Those are very good avenues for you to take advantage of that. This money will just hammer more on the various products, because we see that clients are interested in things they can do, in action points they can actually take and which is why our activities will be focused more on that. So quickly, there was an auction that took place last week, just to keep us informed of what is going on in that space, where 277 billion worth of NTB was on offer. We saw a total subscription of 373 billion, and eventually at the end of the auction, the same amount offered was allotted. And we saw that yields at the auction closed at 18.5, 19.5, and 22.1%, respectively, on the 91, 182, and 364 day auction. As I had rightly said earlier, the increase in NPR took a toll on the various markets last week, as the FGN bond secondary market also closed bearish. We saw that at that end of the market, yields advanced by 4 basis points to increase to 19.45%. We've seen in recent times, activities in the market has been skewed towards the short end of the curve, as you can rightly see, from the 1 to 3 year, the yield seems elevated on that end of the market. Very quickly, the foreign exchange market as well. The bearish, or would I say the negative, okay, probably we should use the right word, the depreciation in Naira, that seems like to be a continuous thing, as we saw last week that the Naira further depreciated from 1,596 Naira 92 kobo to 1,609 Naira 27 kobo, which is about 77 basis point decline at the official window. Also, at the forex contract, we saw similar sentiment play out, where at the 1 month, we saw Naira depreciating by 140 basis points. On the 2 months contract, 156 basis points. 3 months, 163 basis points. 6 months, 154 basis points, and the 1 year contract, 108 basis points. The reasons for some of these is actually not far-fetched. We need to ramp up some of the key variables that drives FX for us. And I think last week, we had mentioned something about the crude oil production. That's also a major factor whereby our crude oil production has been mortgaged, for facilities. So a lot of effort, concise effort, needs to be taken by the government, to salvage the situation we currently find ourselves. And we hope that, distant time, we'll start to record some significant and positive gains in this phase of the market. So quickly, like I said, our focus this morning will be more on our products, because we know that the clients are looking at what are the actions they can take, what are the opportunities available for them, and what some feedbacks we got is, the auctions we bring to them, they don't have the capacity to go for those auctions due to the limitation as to the size. And I remember the two clients I spoke, we emphasized that all these product offerings that we have in-house is also very good avenues for you to take advantage of the elevated rates in the market. Particularly the fixed income, the lead fixed income fund is a strictly fixed income product, which invests only in fixed income assets, no volatility. File is very low because of the stable rates of return, unlike probably the sister investment, which is the equities, whereby there's a bit of volatility. And also the good thing again is that this pays dividend. It pays dividend every 6 months. And like I rightly said earlier, today is the dividend payment date for lead fixed income fund. And we're happy to announce that we're paying 3 Naira 25 kobo for every unit you hold. So imagine you have 10,000 units, 50,000 units, 100,000 units, multiply that by 3 Naira 25 kobo. I think that's a very good call for your investment. And this is outside the capital appreciation. Your funds, obviously, as when you've invested it and what it is as of now is not the same. So these are various products for you to key and to venture or to leverage upon. For the lead balance fund, it has a mixture of both the equities and the fixed income. You feel like there are opportunities in the equity space that you would also want to take advantage of or also enjoy, while you also leverage on the elevated rates in the fixed income space. This fund is a perfect one for you. The risk profile is minimal. You're not overly exposed to equities, which has volatility, and you also have the fixed income product to serve as a leverage or as a cover for you. And this fund also pays dividend, but on an annual basis. At the end of every financial year, I'll pay dividend on this fund. And for our lead dollar fund, we're also paying dividend on this fund. So the lead dollar fund is, you have dollars, you have FX, and you're looking at investing them and you're not so sure of what to do, rather than keeping them in your domiciliary account, these are various opportunities for you to explore. For the lead dollar fund, with as low as $1,000, you can invest in this fund and also get to enjoy the benefits in the Eurobond, sorry, in the dollar space. Why particularly for our lead Gazelle portfolio, for a client I spoke with last week who was interested in going for the NCB auction, but due to the constraints in rates, I'd recommended this for him and he was very happy. The rates on this one is very the fixed income products whereby you get to fix your fund for preferred tenors. It could be for 90 days, it could be for 180 days, it could be for 1 year. It's depending on your preference. And the rates are very competitive when compared to what you will get from your regular banks. So this is a call on our clients, to take that decision today, take that step today, and put your money into good use. For Eurobond trading, are you a client that has a FX and you're looking at also investing them? The Eurobonds are actually very good options for you as well. With a minimum of $200,000, you get to invest in this space of the market. And the good thing with this is you get your coupon every 6 months as well, and the coupons are paid in dollars. So not that you invest in naira and you get your coupon paid back to you in naira. So you invest get your coupon paid in naira. No, you get your coupon paid back to you in dollar. With that, you get to edge against the volatility in the exchange rate, and also to secure. So with this, we've come to the end of our presentation this morning. If there are questions, inquiries, comments, now is the time for you to put them forward. Thank you very much for listening. Okay, we have some questions here. What is the impact of the Dangote rule on the markets? How does that affect an average investor?
Okay, thank you. I've said that the Dangote cement, the price is over 600. In terms of looking at how it affects an average investor on the market, if you invest in Dangote cement, and if the price lose 10% or 5%, it means it's going to declare the share price. As the share price is also declining on every trading days, that will also reduce the all share index and the market capitalization. Don't forget that what is really driving the all share index and market capitalization is the appreciation and depreciation in the share price of all the listed companies. So it does not really have much impact, but just that anytime the price of Dangote cement depreciates, those who have Dangote cement in their portfolio size will reduce. And if it also goes up, that will also increase the size of the portfolio and vis-a-vis the market and the index. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Does the fundamental support Dangote cement as a stock that can withstand the political and financial headwinds at play?
Yes, the fundamental supports that because if you look at the result, I think the second quarter result was also out. That's half year, and they also did very well. And I said in my presentation, most businesses now finding a way to navigate the macroeconomic challenges. The valuation around Dangote cement is still favorable. And then the products, the industry where that company is also operating, there's a demand for their products. And then their product is also inflation adjusted, because if you want to build, if you want to, what do you call it? If you want to build, if you want to do road construction, you needed cement for those projects. And whether you like it or not, you have to buy it at that particular price. So it is a company that is operating in a very good industry, and then the product is also inflation adjusted. So it's a good buy at every point in time. But sometimes when the prices move above valuation, you can take advantage of selling. Or if it comes down below valuation, you can also take the advantage of buying. Thank you.
All right, thanks. What is the impact on the tax call, I guess the windfall tax, by the government on the forex gain by the banks? How does this affect the bank's capitalization efforts?
Okay, thank you. I think we also mentioned this in our webinar on Friday. We were surprised that the 50% the government was actually proposing in the bill sent to the National Assembly by the president was 50%. But unfortunately, the National Assembly has also increased that to 70%, that instead of 50% on the windfall tax gain, it's now 70%. What the likely impact on the bank's performance is on their profit after tax is going to depreciate their profit after tax. But I've said that some of these, because it's for 2023 financials, and some of those assets are also held in the public in foreign dominated assets. So we are seeing some of those assets, management of those banks, they have not been sold. They are still held in their position until they were able to sell those assets. That is the time they are going to charge them that 70%. But going forward, it's going to affect the balance sheet and the profit after tax of the bank. But that will also serve as a lesson for the banks that is an opportunity for them to start looking for X way and focus more on their core banking businesses. So it's an indication that whatever proceeds they also realize from the ongoing capitalization, they will use it judiciously on the core banking business of.
Based on the Gerugu Power H2 2024 impressive results, why is it not on your buy recommendation list?
So if you check our recommendation last, Geregu is part of our buy recommendation because we have looked at the valuation, we have also looked at earnings per share compared to the industry average, and we believe that they are still within the limit, within the performance of the industry average. So if you check, I think last week is on our recommendation, and if you check our recommendation for this week, we didn't whether say buy or sell. Maybe probably we didn't include it because sometimes we have numerous companies under our coverage. Sometimes we don't include all these companies in our recommendation, but we focus on specific companies. Whereas at last week, if you check our recommendation, we placed Gerugu Power under our buy recommendation because of the impressive second quarter and the half-year performance of that company.
Okay, I guess this is just to bring an issue to our notice. Please check the Lead Trader app. All right, that will be looked at. Would look at that and fix whatever the issue might be. Thanks for bringing that to our notice. Okay, what is the minimum in the Eurobond product? Okay, the standard size is actually $200,000 for you to buy Eurobonds. However, there's a form of flexibility around this. Mr. Oluwaseyi would get back to you after this call to discuss those flexibilities. But the standard size is $200,000. Access Bank sold its shares at 19 naira, but the market price is 18 naira. That is a loss. That is a loss. Please explain.
Well, I think you are still talking about the right issue. In those days, I think about some years ago, when company wants to raise money from the market, they will place it on technical suspension. And on technical suspension means that they cannot trade on that company. But as event unfolds and then there are new rules coming to the market, the regulators said that shouldn't happen again. You cannot actually stop those who want to trade on that stock because they are raising capital, either right issue or public offering. So that is the reason why we still have that flexibility in the market. It happens sometimes the price can trade below the current market price. If you look at the Zenith Bank, they are coming out at right issue of 36 naira. On Friday, it closed at 35 naira, 85 kobo. It does not mean that you're at a loss. It is going to give you opportunity of getting the value of that stock. We've said before the public offering and the right issue of those banks were announced that sometime you fill your form, submit. If it's trading lesser in the market, we'll buy for you. Valuation around Access Bank is more than 90, but the fact that people are selling does not mean that you are selling at a loss. So if you are taking the right issue of Access Bank, you can buy from the market. Thank you.
Right, thank you. If there are more questions, now is the time to ask them. And you can also signify by a raise of hand so we can unmute your mic for you to ask your questions directly. More questions, comments, clarifications. Okay, with this, we've come to the end of our session this morning. We would like to thank each and every one of you for taking out the time to join us. And we do hope that you have a wonderful week ahead. Thank you.